Let's talk about the president's push for the Iran deal with Republican Senator Bob Corker, chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Mr. Chairman, thanks so much for being with us. I want to get to the choice that the president posed there in a second, but first I want to get your reaction to something, perhaps the most pointed part of his speech. It started with his talking about Iranian hardliners opposed to the deal. Take a listen.
In fact, it's those hardliners who are most comfortable with the status quo. It's those hardliners chanting death to America who've been most opposed to the deal. They're making common cause with the Republican caucus.
They're making common cause with the Republican caucus. Your reaction?
So to me, it's just an attempt to keep Congress from really debating this issue on the merits, and I think it demeans the debate. I think, you know, the president tried to veto, began with a veto threat over us even being able to weigh in, and we passed overwhelmingly the Iran Nuclear Review Act, which gave us this voice. To me, this is a sign of someone who really doesn't want the issue debated on its merits. He wants to turn it into a partisan issue, but yet today, in a committee hearing, I'm sitting there with Bob Menendez,
Democrat,
Ben Cardin, the ranking member. We all have concerns about this deal. So the concerns about the Iran deal, which is a significant foreign policy issue, right now are very bipartisan. So to me, it just marginalizes. I think it probably infuriates some of the people that are on the bubble on the Democratic side of the aisle that are really trying to make up their mind.
Now, the argument he's putting out there is not about what could be or what should be, but he's saying if Congress rejects this deal, partners such as Russia and China are going to end their sanctions anyway. So what will happen, in the president's view, is the U.S. is pushing sanctions while Iran feels free to build a bomb with no restraints and no deal keeping them from building a nuclear bomb. Is he not correct that once Iran did so, and they certainly would, the U.S. would then feel forced to take military action? Is he not right that this is ultimately the choice with the choices we have today?
Yeah, so I don't think there's anybody that believes, I know Iran does not, that this president would take military action. I mean, we had testimony, both classified and otherwise, that certainly presents a very different viewpoint. We've also had the military officials in that have been a part of these negotiations, and never has the military option been on the table. So most people believe, and we've had just an inordinate number of hearings and briefings, most people believe that Iran would in no way rush to build a nuclear weapon because they would fear that something like he just said happened. So look, I think at the end of the day, what the president is attempting to do is to create a scenario where instead of members of Congress, which everyone knew we were going to weigh in, Iran did, China did,
right,
Russia did, everyone knew we were going to weigh in, is to set up a scenario where people are not able to vote their conscience on whether they really believe this is something that's going to keep Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, and instead for people to feel intimidated that if they express a different view, they're being viewed as one of the hardliners in Iran, or they're creating a scenario that leads to war, neither of which is true. So again, I wish you would tone down. I think when people get in situations where they feel like they're losing the argument, they start throwing out these other kinds of things to try to rally the troops. And again, I think it demeans the debate that we're having that is, in fact, the most important foreign policy debate we're likely to have while we're here in the Senate.
Where is it right now in terms of a head count? Is there a veto-proof majority? Would there be more than 66 senators voting against this agreement?
So I have no idea. And Jake, I haven't even attempted to call somebody to go in one direction or another. We spent the entire month trying to make sure that everybody fully understood what the deal's about, what are the options. I don't know. I mean, there are a couple of, maybe 3 key senators on the Democratic side that, depending on which way they go, I think will sway numbers of others.
Menendez, Cardin.
I'm not going to mention names. I'll let you editorialize. but you know, at this point, I think it's very fluid. I think people, rightly so, are going to go home. They're going to spend some time with their constituents. They're going to sort of decompress with all that's been put at them relative to this deal. And I think people are going to come back, have a very sober and dignified debate, and there'll be a decision made. Some will make their decision over the holidays. Some will wait, I think, until they come back.
All right, Senator Bob Corker, thanks so much. Enjoy your trek through the great state of Tennessee. We appreciate your being here. Coming up.